Commissioners, welcome to Sunshiny Day and a board meeting, and welcome to our two guests back here, Garrett and Laura, sorry, who are here to watch, right? Okay, so just so you know ahead of time, as you can see, 10A to 10AR is all community meetings that have already been handled. So we are going to move those as a block, and you are welcome to take out whichever one you want to speak to. Very similar to the consent agenda. Everybody good with that? Otherwise, we've got pages and pages to go today.
Absolutely.
Like it's a long agenda. Okay, everybody good?
Yeah.
So seeing that, the land acknowledgement in the spirit of respect, truth, and reconciliation, we honor and thank the Indigenous peoples on whose traditional and unceded lands we operate. I need a motion for the agenda unless there's any changes. And second, anyone not in favor of that? Everybody okay online? You're gonna have to speak up because there's a lot of you, right? Okay, draft minutes. Same thing for the draft minutes. Do you have any corrections?
Yes.
Please, Sharon, go ahead.
Under the minutes, 11B was ALC exclusion applications to the Boundary Economic Development budget. And it should be reworded to add a line item for this ALC application rather than having them all go to that service. Does that make sense?
Sorry, could you repeat that, Director? Just want to make sure that I'm capturing that right area.
So, to add line item for this ALC exclusion application. Rather than to add line item for ALC exclusion applications, plural.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, amended agenda. Motion? Second? Great. Anyone not in favor of that? Let's go to consent agenda. Anyone want to pull anything out of the consent agenda, please? That is 5A to 5G. Anyone?
So moved.
Thank you, Everett. Seconded. John? Anyone not in favor of that? Okay, onward we go, and this is the presentation at the request of the board for audited financial statements. Mitch Gaudry, Manager of Finance, Jeremy Childs, CPA, CA, Partner Assurance, and Snida. How do I pronounce your name? You're not there.
It's Sneha.
Thank you. Thank you. These are the financial statements for the regional district, and after that, they need to be approved. So go ahead, please.
Good morning, or good afternoon, Chair McGregor and the Board of Directors. Just want to confirm that you guys can see my slideshow.
Yep,
excellent.
We can.
Perfect, thank you so much. So yeah, today I am joined by Jeremy Childs, the partner at Doan Grant Thornton, as well as Sanea Cheda, the senior accountant on our engagement, and we will be presenting to you the audited 2024 financial statements to complete the fiscal year 2024 and are seeking your adoption. A copy of the draft financial statements was included in the agenda. My presentation will be more high level and will be an overview. So before I get started, I'm just going to switch to a quick agenda. So we're going to start by looking at the statement of financial position. Then we're going to look at the statement of cash flows, followed by the statement of operations. Then we'll look at the capital acquisitions within the year, and finally wrap up with a quick overview of the accumulated surplus. So the first topic that I wanted to talk with you about was the statement of financial position, which can be found on page 1 of the draft financial statements. This statement provides a snapshot of the RDKB's overall financial health at a set specific date and time, this purpose being December 31st, 2024, and focuses on 3 key aspects: the assets, liabilities, and equity. Liquidity is a common financial metric used to measure the overall health of the RDKB. For 2024, our liquidity ratio was calculated as 1.14 and is calculated based on taking the financial assets and divided by the financial liabilities. This was a slight decrease from 1.2 from 2023, and this is generally in regards to our financial liabilities exceeding, or the change in our financial liabilities exceeding the change in financial assets by 2.36 million. I just want to dive back into the financial assets and specifically the change of the $5 million. So this is made up of a couple of three main components. So the cash balance increased by 3.4 million. This can be seen on page 4, which is of the financial statements, which is the statement of cash flow. We will dive into this on the next slide further. The second part is increase in the accounts receivable. This is mainly tied to the increased receivable for the grant related to the wastewater treatment plant upgrades here in Trail for the phase 2 construction. And finally, this is offset by a decrease in debenture debt recoverable from the municipalities, which can be seen in note 7 of $1.7 million. On the liability side, the main increase here was $2.7 million on accounts payable. This also was mainly related to the CPC upgrades for phase 2, as well as temporary borrowing of $3.3 million. And this can be seen on note 8 or schedule 2. And this related to fire trucks as well as our construction loan for the CPC project. Next, I wanted to jump to the cash flow, and you're probably wondering, why are we jumping from statement of operations to cash flow instead of going to financial position? Or sorry, I said that backwards. Financial position to operations, but we're going to do cash flow first because that's the bridge between financial position and statement of operations. Specifically, we're going to highlight the $3.4 million change in financial assets that I noted on the previous slide. So basically, we're going to start with the opening balance of the cash flow at January 1st, 2024 of 25 million. So that's the bar on the bottom right on the far left. And then we're going to add on the 2024 surplus of $8.6 million, followed by an additional inflows of related to non-cash transactions. This would be amortization, gain or loss on disposals, actuarial additions on debt, and accretion, for example. This was $4.3 million. Next, we're going to look at the net inflows related to accounts payable and accounts receivable and deferred revenue. This was an additional $1.3 million. The fourth addition was the net increase in debt of $3.8 million. And then we had a massive outflow this year for capital additions of $15 million. And with these new capital additions, we did dispose of some existing capital. So we did have proceeds of disposal of $335,000. This leaves a closing net balance on the cash of just over $28.46 million. Next, we're going to move on to the statement of operations. So as I mentioned, the cash flow was the bridge between the statement of financial position and the statement of operations. So here we're going to focus in on the consolidated revenue and expenses for the organization. Further details of this can be found on a segmented basis in Schedule 4, starting on page 21 of the financial statements, as well as in the unaudited supplementary information. There is also a detailed listing by service, starting on page 26. Here, I want to focus in on the variance between the budget and actuals. So on the revenue side, we're seeing a variance of approximately 18 million, and this was related to the delayed construction on the CPC project, which didn't commence until August of 2024. On the expense side, we're seeing a variance of 4.29 million. 1.68 is coming from the developmental segment. This relates to the delay in the food hub project in the boundary. as well as on the transportation side, we're seeing approximately 1 million as well under budget, and this was due to the cancellation of the bus stop shelter project. And now I'm going to jump back to that $15 million that we spent in capital this year. So as expected, the majority of that, just under half of it coming in at just under 7 million, related to construction of phase 2 of the wastewater treatment plant here in Trail. We also had approximately, or just over $3.5 million in purchase of fire trucks and vehicles. This included a new fire engine, a rescue, and a command truck for Big White, a new engine, a new tender, and a new command truck for Christina Lake, a new tender for Beaverdale, and a new engine for the Fruitvale Fire Hall here in Trail. With the delivery of all these apparatus, it only leaves a single apparatus remaining from the 7 trucks that we committed to procure back in 2022, being the ladder truck, and this is reflected in note 17 on the financial statements. Some of the other big categories of purchases include $1.1 million for a wood grinder for Janine's Solid Waste, the new training grounds in Trail here for the fire department of $600,000, new gensets in Beaver Valley Water, updates to the concessions and washrooms at the Beaver Valley Arena, as well as a couple other projects that I wanted to make note of, a new dog park in Christina Lake, as well as commencement of the engineering for the new Christina Lake pedestrian bridge. Finally, I just wanted to swing back to the accumulated surplus. So generally, the increase that we noted from the statement of financial position of 8.6 million is driven by 1.4 million in reserves. A statement of reserves can be found in the supplementary information starting on page 26, as well as an increase in capital. A couple other things that I just wanted to draw your attention to quickly is just that the notes to the financial statements are integral to the statements presented. I wanted to draw your attention specifically to a new accounting standard, PS 3400 revenue, which is noted in note 3 on page 8. And here we had to apply this to our building permit revenue, recognizing that there was obligations over the whole life of the permit. So we just have to recognize revenue over that corresponding period. The second point here that I wanted to show was schedules 1 to 4. So schedule 1 is the statement of debenture debt. Schedule 2 is temporary borrowing. Schedule 3 is tangible capital assets. And Schedule 4 is the segmented statement of operations. There's also a comparable version for 2023 so that you can compare your values. Finally, there's also the supplementary information at the end, which I want to just stress is unaudited. Here we have a statement of reserve, as I previously mentioned, as well as a statement of one-time grants from the province of BC. This includes both the COVID Restart Grant as well as the Growing Community Funds Grant. And finally, there is a statement of financial activity for each of the services following that up. And that concludes everything that I had for you. I just wanted to know if anyone had any questions for me.
Directors, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair McGregor. Thank you, Mitch. I really enjoyed that presentation. Well done. I just have one question, and that's regarding the reserves. Are those including the restricted reserves, or is that just strictly the unrestricted reserves that we have?
It is a blend, so it is not separated.
Okay, thank you.
Bill Windman?
Yeah, I got my mic on. Yeah, in fact, we had this discussion at Council in Fruitvale about amortization and why it is included as almost, it looks like it's included as a cash expense and expenses versus a non-cash expense. And I draw your attention to page 54, I think it is. I can get it down there. There's a couple others, but I'm just using that one because I know that one. I think it's the water.
And sorry, Bill, were you gonna share or do you want me to find it?
No, I can't share. I'm
Okay.
in Fruitvale. I'm lost. I'm sneezy in Fruitvale.
Not a bad place to do on.
So if you can bring up the unaudited draft.
Yep, just me
take it.
Okay, can you see it now?
Yep. Go to page
Excellent.
54. You're different page numbers than me, but it's the it's a Beaver Valley Water Service 500. There it is. Okay, if you take a look at that, you got revenue coming in, and it's basically, from what I can see, it's all cash revenue. Then you go into expenses, and there's several down there, and then you get down to close to the bottom, and then you have capital expenditures, which is understand because that's probably money that we spent on capital projects or supplementing operations. But then you see amortization of $257,502. And that's it's my understanding, amortization is a non-cash expense. So I'm confused as to why it's going in there, because then you go excess revenue, surplus deficit, and deficit at the end of the year. And meanwhile, you got a $250,000 expense in there that isn't really a cash expense.
Mitch, do you want me to take this on?
If you want to.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Director Weinman. That's a really great question. And as we are going through all the budget process, and you don't see any line called amortization there. And then why we are all on a sudden seeing the amortization in a financial statement is because these two operate in two different standards. This financial statement is called the accrual basis. And for the accrual basis is we have to recognize, so this is not the cash basis one. This is our budget. There is a note number which reconcile the budget to the accrual basis as well. So that's why for each and every asset RDKB holds, we have a kind of a lifespan and the depreciation schedule, and that's what it shows in here. So this is not a cash expense. You are absolutely right. This is a non-cash expense, and it just shows that reconciliation from budget to the accrual basis of accounting.
Bill,
Yeah,
you
but
good?
usually, well, just one more. Usually there's a positive side to the other side of the coin there. So I'm trying to see, like when we say we have a surplus of 304,000, then it's really not a surplus of 304,000, is it?
Yes, so this surplus, even if you look at the aggregate, we have, say, an $8 million surplus. But if you want to try to find money for it, where is those money? Not necessarily. So the way our revenue recognition works is a little bit different, and it's actually really tied into your depreciation questions. Say, for example, we spent $1 million for building something. So we recognize that revenue right away. But you won't see the corresponding expense on the other side. Instead of, you will see the amortization depreciation. Let's say if it is a 20-year life, you will see 1 20th of it.
Yeah, no, I understand that. When I was in business, I amortized some purchases, and I understand the tax write-off. But for local government, it's a non-cash thing. I guess I'm saying it's kind of weak when it shows how much surplus we have when it's not a real surplus.
Yes, so that's
where would I find?
Sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry.
That surplus is timing. One is timing difference. One is the revenue recognition and the expense difference, and one is the kind of a real expense is lower than the lower than the revenue. So all three combinations of it. So that's why Mitch, what he tried to do is before jumping into a statement of operation, it showed you the cash flow side of it and how this cash flow link the statement of financial position and a statement of operation. So, and there is further detail actually of the breakdown of this, how this actually translate into cash flow and the operation.
Okay. My
Thanks.
rant is over. Thank you, Chair.
No worries at all. Ally?
Yeah, thanks for that question, Bill. I have no idea what that meant, but I think maybe Bill and I can follow up on that later. One of the things I was looking for in this report, and I thought we had them in the past, maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's a different full, I was looking for a summary, an executive summary on this report. Did we not have them in the past? And maybe I'm confusing it with another report. And just before I look for an answer on that, Mitch, your first time presenting to us on this financial stuff. So congratulations, you did a great job. Thank you, Mitch.
Thank you. And so that,
Okay.
just to answer your question, Director Grieve, the statement that you are alluding to is the annual report, which we have not completed this year, but we will do for 2025.
Great. Thank you, Mitch. Any other questions?
No, I just wanted to say thank you. I didn't mean to cause a bunch of problems with my question.
It's all good, Bill.
Oh, Frank says.
Yeah, you did want to do that. Now, come on. We rely on that. Good questions, Bill. Okay, so we need approval.
Frank.
Oh, right, go ahead. You're muted.
Yeah, thank you, sorry. Just a note in the recommendation, it states December 31st, 2025, and these are 2024 statements.
Yeah, that did be correct.
Yep. Okay? All good? Everybody?
Yeah.
I have a motion for approval of this, please. Second?
Bill,
Richard? Anyone not in favor of that? Okay, hang in there. Everybody, we need now to go into closed. I need a motion to go into closed meeting in camera, please.
So
And a seconder? And anyone not in favor of that? Okay, thank you. Guys can come back. Okay, we'll let you know.
we'll see you in a bit.
You bet. All right, we're back into main meeting. And we're going to go to unfinished business, which is animal control service closure and property acquisition plan. And the staff report is, never mind, Everett. And the recommendation I'm going to read before we launch into a conversation.
I was going to move to accept.
Linda Kay, right on. So this is the recommendation Linda Kay is motioning. That as per report titled Boundary Animal Control Services, Service Closure and Property Acquisition Plan presented on February 25, 2026, the Regional District Kootenai Boundary Board of Directors allocate up to $350,000 in 2026 from Building Reserve Funds in General Administration 001 for the pending transfer and acquisition of all property and associated building assets from the Boundary Animal Control Service 071 to General Government Service 001. Further, the staff initiate the development of a lease contract for the use of the building property for both the weavers and the woodworkers to be established for January 2027. Linda K. motion. Second. Thank you, Linda. Conversation, anyone? This is a long haul and we're messing it up.
Hi all.
Andy?
Yes, I just wanted to add, I see our accountants are still in the meeting. Is it requirement they stay? Or should we thank them and let them go?
No, we already handled all that.
They're still in the meeting, so I just wondered.
Thank you, everyone. We will take our leave as of now. We just wanted to make sure there's nothing else that were needed from us.
So Andy would like to thank you. We all thank you. Thank you very much, always.
Okay, goodbye for now.
Okay. Questions on this motion? All righty. Anyone not in favor of this? Okay, whoop.
I do have a quick question.
Go right ahead.
Can staff to give me a very ballpark figure of when this piece is likely to be wrapped up, and then we can start deciding what's next? Do we have like next year in 6 months, 4 weeks? Do we have a very ballpark figure?
Yeah, through the chair.
No pressure. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just ordering my mind.
Good question, Director. So the ministry is aware
Yeah.
of this and have been waiting for confirmation that the assets in that service have been disposed of. So tomorrow I will be writing a letter with the certified resolution, and then that will go to the inspector for municipalities. Typically it's around a 6 to 8 week turnaround, whereby they will let me know, and then hopefully we can establish your service.
Thank you for your work on this.
You're very welcome.
Okay, it's exciting.
Yeah.
All righty, everybody. Bill Windman.
Yeah, I'm just trying to clarify what we're doing. We're taking an asset, which is a building, out of a defunct or a service that no longer exists, and we're moving it to general government service 001. And then we're going to rent it back to weavers and woodworkers. How do we fund all this? How's the funding? I'm just trying to sort it out.
Good.
Through the chair, is we kind of put a tentative plan and schedule to that in the last report, and realizing it's going to take a while to flush that out. And so funding in the shorter term, being this year a commitment of that 350 from 001 reserves. And then ultimately we'll establish through the year a revenue back from some of the services using that building, such as emergency management, building services that have some level of use in the property. And then additionally, the two significant kind of users of one of the buildings there as community groups. So we'll establish that through this year, and then that will then, if we maintain that onwards 2027 for the years to come, then that would be an annual revenue source that would be sustained in perpetuity of owning that building, as long as those folks and services still retained.
Okay, thank you for reminding me. We did discuss that, James. It's all coming back now. Thank you.
No worries,
No further
Bill.
questions.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, we are now on to 10A. And 10A goes from page 5 to page 19, I think it is. And it goes from 5A to whatever, 5RQ or something such like that. They are the committee meetings. And I would like to do this as a block. So I want to know if you would make a motion, please, and a seconder. Thank you,
So
Richard.
moved.
Okay, so is there any of these that you want to pull out and have further conversation on? Sharon?
Yes, Chair McGregor, thank you. The first one I'd like to pull out is 10D, Service 008 for Boundary Economic. And at the last board meeting, we had agreed to take out an ALR exclusion fee of $750 out there, and it's not reflected in that report. So if we could make a note of that. And I have another, if I may.
Yeah, are you good to that, James?
Yeah.
Yep, go ahead.
The second one is item 10AO, page 2. Ally pointed this out at the Utilities Committee. The parcel tax, it said Fruitvale and Area E, and it was changed to Area A. I think Farhad
Yeah.
did it at the group, but it's still
He did,
reflected.
but it still showed up.
here,
Yeah.
So I wanted, and I don't know, Farhad may have already changed to 750 as well.
Yes, we changed it to the master file, but this is going to flow through from the committee.
Right,
Thank you. Just
okay.
because it's here, I thought I would like to point it out publicly.
You bet.
Thank you.
That's important.
That's everything.
Okay, thank you. Bill Windman, you have something you want to pull out?
Yeah, 10 alpha. The recommendation didn't quite follow the committee recommendation.
10, which one? 10 what?
Double A.
10 alpha alpha,
Okay, yeah, got it.
AA, 10 double A.
Got it.
Sorry, I was using
The
phonetic
bill is
alphabet.
our way of saying 10 AA.
10 alpha alpha.
Got it.
Okay, the recommendation was that the East End Services Committee direct staff to amend the 2026 to provide a 0% increase in requisition, and it's not what's there. So if you open up, James, can you help me out here? Am I missing something?
Yeah, through the chair. However, we want to make that amendment, I would agree that was the direction because we presented.
Okay, through the chair, I'll make the recommendation should read as per the staff report. If you'd opened up the staff report, Anitra.
Yeah, James.
Yeah, that's it. Go down to the bottom.
Yep.
And there was the alternate.
Too far, right there. The East End Services Committee directs staff to amend the 2026 budget to provide 0% increase in requisition with, we didn't define the amount with the reserve to cover the operational cost.
I'll second that.
Yeah, that was agreed.
Okay, so
Sorry, through the chair, just to make sure that all that verbiage is to be included, including the 84,000?
No.
No.
excluding the 84,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So that somebody you motioned that, Bill?
Yeah, Ally seconded it.
Okay, anyone not in favor of that correction? Okay, good. Anything else, Bill?
No, the rest are deep dives into budget. I'm not going to worry about it.
Okay, anybody else want to pull anything out? So we've got a motion and a seconder for all of these. Anyone not in favor of that?
As amended,
Okay.
yes.
Onward we march to new business. New business is amended budget for the Christina Lake Parks and Recreation Commission, and the recommendation is that the Board of Directors approve 2026-2030 Christina Lake Parks and Recreation Service amended 5-year financial plan, including minor changes for the adjustments to year-end totals as presented to the Board of Directors on February 25, 2026. Further, that the amended plan be included in the overall RDKB budget financial plan. And that, of course, was because we were waiting for some other things to come in.
Motion?
Thank you. Seconded by Linda. Anyone not in favor of that? Okay, onward we go to budget big white security service. And the recommendation here is that the Board of Directors approve the 2026-2030 Big White Security 074 Service 5-year financial plan, including minor changes for adjustments to year-end totals as presented to the Board of Directors on February 25, 2026. Further, that the plan be included in the overall RDKB 2026-2030 5-year financial plan. Motion.
Chair, James, would you care to speak to this?
Can I have a motion and a seconder? Seconder for that motion? Great, Richard, go ahead.
Actually, through the chair, considering the fresh from Big White Town Hall, we've got consideration that we would actually defer this budget. We've been going through a community engagement and getting a whole bunch of feedback on consideration to reduce the service levels, which looks fairly positive in terms of support. And from the town hall last night, we've agreed to extend the survey through to the weekend. So we'd like to ask permission or chat with Director Gibbs to defer this budget and bring it back straight into the financial plan for approval and likely to make those changes following the end of this week.
Okay, so following suit, because the motion's on the floor, we would like to defeat this motion, please. So anyone not in favor of that? That means all of you not in favor of that if you're defeating this motion. Yes, everyone's not in favor. Okay, good. Sharon, make the new motion, please.
To defer.
Yes. Seconder? Richard? Any conversation on that? Okay. Anyone not in favor of that?
Yeah, I have a question.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Ellie.
Yeah, just a question on process, based on my past experience. If the if the stakeholders know we're not going to approve the recommendation in front of us, why do we not just make the recommendation that we want instead? I'm confused because that's how we've done it in the past.
Yeah, that's fine, Ally, but we just
Okay,
followed
just-
the process
Just a
today.
thought.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank
thank
you.
you.
Okay, you want to comment? No? Okay. Let's go on to 5-year financial plan building inspection service. And this is Brian Chaplin and
I'm speaking of,
yes,
because Brian is not
Okay.
well, so
so can we motion it first?
you certainly can.
Okay. The recommendation is that the Board of Directors approve 2026-2030 building inspection service 5-year financial plan is presented to the Board of Directors February 25. Further, the budget be included in the overall RDKB 5-year financial plan. So, thank you. Seconded by Linda. Go ahead.
And speaking on behalf of Brian, who's unfortunately not well today, in that category of folks suffering. So really just here for questions. There's very little changes. There's no changes in the structure of the budget. It's very measurable decrease with year-end actuals kind of more up to date. So just looking for approval or happy to answer any questions.
Okay, Ally? Oh, your hand's up. Okay, thanks. Any other conversation? No? Anyone opposed? Okay, 5-year financial plan emergency preparedness service, Mark Stevens. And that the recommendation is 2026-2030 emergency preparedness service 5-year financial plan as presented to the Board of Directors January 28th. Be approved with minor adjustments for year end. Mark, can I speak to this, please?
Happy to answer any questions. As I mentioned last time, we were able to adjust the requisition based off of year-end actuals and our smart budget parameters. So what you see before you represents that 2% of the infrastructure gap, as well as the requisition for the 4 main projects that are listed in the staff report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Hey, Ally?
Um,
Whoops, Bill Windman's first,
Yeah.
sorry.
Ally can go first. It's okay.
Well, but you're number 1, Bill. And having heard from the auditors, I think we'll follow with number 1.
Okay. Just refresh. I couldn't find the debt charges, principal and interest and what we bought because I'm a newcomer here. Was it in the report? What we bought with it?
With our debt charges, that was the SPU trailer that we purchased in 2024. So it's the upgrades that we did to that. That's listed, I believe, on the actual spreadsheet. I believe it's sheet 34, I believe.
Okay. I don't have 34. Or maybe. Okay. And how long is that going to be? How long is that lasting till?
So the way that we structured that is that it would be a 7-year financing, but if we receive funding from the province because it was rented by them, if it goes up, then we can come back to the board with that to pay that down faster.
Are we getting there or currently I don't think with.
We are on the list for deployments, and so we receive an inspection every year. It's up to the province whether they call us to rent our unit or not. It's yet to be rented.
Okay. No further questions, Chair.
Thank you. Ellie?
Yeah, sorry, I've lost my own page on my own budgets here, but you'll see a motion later coming forward from the East End on clarity on actual tax increases. So if we could go to the first page of the budget for a minute, we are looking at a 2131 increase, but I'm just demonstrating a point here where the actual requisition increase is not clear. That's the only point I'm making. Thank you.
Okay.
If I may through the chair.
You may.
So the total requisition increase is 21.31%, which is the 15.86% for
Yes.
progress operations. And then on top of that is the 5.45% increase for.
Yes, thank you. I know that, but other people will not. But I'm pointing this out because of a motion that's going to be following shortly.
My apologies.
Thank you, Ally. Farhat will also speak to that.
Through the chair, Director Green brings in a very good point, and we are trying to balance the kind of a two perspective here. When we started the discussion on infrastructure levy, the clear direction to staff is show it separately. Don't combine with the operational so that we know how much we are charging for infrastructure. So that's why in this deep dive service level budget, you see the two. In today's agenda letter, you will have the consolidated one. And that's where you will have every service, there's the combined number as well. So we're providing both. When we're providing the detailed service, that's where you see the split, infrastructure levy and other levy. And then when you go to the consolidated one, that's an 87 page. That's also kind of all the services. And that shows one number, what's the total requisition, so that there is no confusion.
Okay, thank you. Ally, you good with that so far?
You know what? I'm just wanting people to note this for a moment, and I will speak to it in more detail at the East End resolution that's coming up. Thank you.
Yep, got it. Bill Wendman?
Yeah, that it's sort of, I was going to mention on another budget one, but I can bring it up now. I think what we're saying is, Farhad, is where you see requisitions at the top of the page for 15.86, and then you see infrastructure levy for 5.45. What in general we're asking for is a subtotal there of the total requisition. It doesn't need to be consolidated, but just the subtotal, total requisition, something like that. The same thing on the expenditures, which is to separate operational expenses like salaries and benefits all the way down to miscellaneous should be total operational expenses. And then you have expenditures capitalized. And then you have your capital budget. So it's separate. So you can see that sort of how things are going. Anyhow, that's the general gist of it. Looking for subtotals in the summary sheet. Rant over.
Through the chair, definitely in Excel sheet, it looks like clicking and adding on things, but this is a GL based. We have like 21,000 GL codes, so everything is kind of tied to mapping as well. So we don't want to just create one and then it mapping gets missed out and then it doesn't aggregate at all. So
right.
There is there's a process to go through it, and we created this kind of a. Initially, we only had one line. It took a lot of effort to kind of align all the mapping and everything so that it aggregates well to create the separate line. Now, if we create the third line, it will be like we are having a phase for kind of a discussion purposes, then another. So it's create a lot of background chaos, like when you're dealing with, let's say, 21,000 GL code.
Yeah, for sure. Yes. Okay, everybody good?
No, I will have a follow-up sorry, Bill, were you finished?
Yeah, I'm just trying to say that that's the way ahead to the future, not necessarily tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, so as Bill carried it on, I guess, while we're still looking at a live example before we get to the East End motion, I don't understand why an infrastructure levy is under the revenue section either. It's a capital reserve. Should it not be under expenditures? That's a confusing thing for me too.
Go ahead, Target.
Through the chair is if we look at what are the revenue sources we have, and then need to look at kind of a first one, how the revenue comes in, and then how we spend it. Doesn't matter whether we spend it in capital or operation or in something else for our savings or reserve. For the taxpayer, it is the tax revenue. So that's why you will see any infrastructure levy, any type of even parcel tax as a revenue item. And then this year, what we are doing is the amount you see in the infrastructure levy directly get transferred into the reserve. So that's what the transfer. So you see the revenue line, the infrastructure levy, and on the same, the transfer to reserve. So that's kind of going into the savings for infrastructure build.
Yeah, okay. Well, I think we're going to have to work on these budgets because the changes aren't making sense And they're not just for us, they're for members of the public. If we're handing out these sheets to members of the public, they're going to look at the top line and see our requisition went up 15% in this service, which is not true. So a lot of what we're trying to adjust here or speak to is about how these items are presented to the public, and they're not going to understand all that. They need to see one number. What is the requisition increase on this service? Now, we've made some modifications to certain budgets or certain different services, but I think we're going to have a longer conversation because these documents are not just internal for finance, they're for members of the public as well.
Right.
Through the chair, Director Grib, I think we are talking the same language. The document we post even for town hall, even for on our website of the budget, that actually declare only one number. Yeah. This is a deep dive for approval, so that when you make the decision, you see it. For any public facing document, if you look at it, even your area A town hall, we only reported one number.
Okay, I assumed all of these were public documents as well, as we're in a public meeting, so.
They are public. They are public documents, and anyone that wants to take that deep dive into them is more than welcome to do that. I think that's what Farhad is saying. But for a presentation, he is saying that they're trying to simplify the number so it's more obvious what that looks like as an increase. But they also are welcome to deep dive into these. You're right, Ellie. This is a public meeting, and we welcome anyone to take a deep dive into these. But a lot of the people that I talk to wouldn't even know how to read this. And so what Farhad is saying is that one number is super, super important to people, right? Yeah. Am I correct?
And on those consultations, we do report one number, so there is no confusion.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Sharon?
Just a basic one. So when we have a reserve and it goes into a capital reserve, I know within regional districts, unlike municipalities, we can't change services. It has to stay within that service.
Yep.
But can that reserve bounce from a capital reserve to an operating usage? It can, based on the will of the board, or?
You hit it, difficulties, you hit a very important point. So that's part of the work plan, and Director Winman actually always talk about it. How we can separate these two? The operating reserve versus capital reserve, and the idea we have in the 001 work plan is to not have a policy, have a bylaw. So the money we are collecting for the infrastructure reserve, after all the budget process is done, I will accumulate that in a document, and we will create a reserve bylaw. What it does is then you just cannot move operational reserve or capital reserve to operational reserve. You will need 2/3 of the board permission to do so.
Very good. Thank you for that, Carly.
Okay, good. Alrighty. Any other questions? Thanks, Mark. Okay, anyone not in agreement with this? Okay, good. Let us go on to 5-year financial plan 911 emergency communication service. The recommendation is that the board of directors approve 2026-2030 911 emergency communication service 015. 5-year financial plan, including minor changes or adjustments to year-end totals presented to the board February 11. Further, the plan be included in the overall RDKB 2026-2030 5-year financial plan. Could I have a motion? Linda, seconded, Everett. Okay, conversation on this, anyone? If not, anyone opposed? Okay, we're on to 11F, 5-year financial plan, regional solid waste service. And this is Janine Dougal, who is over there. The recommendation is the board of directors approve the 2026-2030 regional solid waste management service 010. 5-year financial plan is presented February 25, including minor changes for adjustments to year-end totals. The plan be included in the overall RDKB 2026-2030 5-year financial plan. Motion. Thank you, Linda and Sharon. Okay. Go ahead, Janine. You want to speak to this?
Yes, please. I'll be quick. Thank you, Chair.
Please, carry on.
James, are you?
Mhm.
Can you scroll
Yes,
down
yes.
please to the first table? Thank you.
Where do you want to go?
So yeah, just right there for now. So this is. As I talked to you about previously, we had about a 21% or so increase in requisition change. This go based on actuals and stuff like that is now presenting out at about 19.5% total, which is broken down by 9.51% in our regular requisition and an infrastructure levy component of 9.95. The significant projects haven't changed, so keep scrolling down, please, James, to the implications section. Keep going, there we go. Okay, so this summarizes the changes to this budget since the previous version that you saw. There's been a number, so I wanted to outline them for you. Basically, the 2025 actuals were updated, which included finalization of the tipping fee revenue that we have received in 2025. And as I had mentioned at the previous meeting, we were expecting that to be quite a bit higher than what I had budgeted, primarily because of the three major construction demolition projects over in the trail area that contributed quite a bit of construction demolition material. So we actually ended up bringing in about $1 million more in tipping fee revenue. And on the don't go there, James, but on the main budget, you'll see that listed under sale of services. So that's why you see that as big as significant dollar value. I've taken that roughly $1 million of extra monies and put that directly to reserves for future use, as I talked about previously as well. I've also adjusted the anticipated revenue that we're going to generate from the garbage tag sales in the years 2027 to 2030, assuming we raise garbage tags from $3 to $4. We've talked a little bit about that in the past. We haven't determined when we're doing that or whether it's going to $4. But in the work plan for this year, I also have a project review of tipping fees. So I'm anticipating that through that review of tipping fees, we may adjust the garbage tag sales. So I've accounted for it on a minor basis just to capture and see what that does to the overall budget for you folks. And then from that, I've also updated the reserve balances and planned use of reserve monies. The other big change that I've done based on the conversation that we had last time was changing the infrastructure levy. Last time I had it increasing by 1% every year out to the 2030, and I've decreased that to half a year increase. Still starting at the 2% gap, which works out to 9.95% requisition or taxation increase. And I've done that primarily because we got an additional $1 million in tipping fees for this year that then allow us to more slowly bring in that increased infrastructure levy over time. So the next table that you see there is more of a summary document because I know my budget is quite complicated. And so again, this speaks to the total requisition that we're seeing in 2026 of the 19.5% increase. And that's where you see the breakdown. And then going forward, we see it increasing over. So we have a big jump in 2026. And then the following year, it will be an increase of 8.8%, 8.9, 8.7, and 8%. And you can see how the infrastructure levy increases over time. So ultimately, like I said, we're basically going from I had previously presented 21.9% requisition increase total. We're dropping that now to 19.5%. And then if you want to keep scrolling down, James, this is all pretty much the same. Infrastructure levy, I've already talked to you about it. Reserve utilization. So this is where you start to see it if you look at the end budget. But really what we're looking at as the end of 2026, we've got 2.6 million in reserves, and we're using a lot of it. Over this 5-year plan, we've got a number of projects that we've included the use of that reserves in, including the capital procurement of a loader. We've also got a second loader in this 5-year plan that we're actually looking at borrowing half and using reserves. That's how I've drafted the budget to date. So ultimately, based on this, we're looking at our reserve dropping by the end of 2030 to 2.4 million. Now that may change because depending on where we go over this 5-year period and what we get for tipping fee and additional surplus, I've also continued to budget our tipping fee revenue on a slightly conservative basis because it's never guaranteed, and especially if we go into a significant economic decline. We typically see our construction demolition revenue actually goes down because there's less building, less renovation that's happening. So I've still maintained some conservative thoughts there. So what I'm hoping is over the next couple of years, we'll have a more fulsome understanding of not only what our future infrastructure costs are going to be with potentially methane gas collection at the McAlvey Creek landfill, as well as future development of Grand Forks landfill and extending life and liners, leachate treatment, and then ultimately what comes out of the solid waste management planning process that we're currently underway. That could also have operational cost changes as well. So there's still a lot of unknowns, but I'm confident that this type of reserve balance at this time with the dollars that we have is appropriate for right now. And I'll leave that there.
Great. Okay, Bill, your hands up. Bill, are you muted?
Yeah, nothing like talking to myself. I'll
Okay.
get,
Good answers.
yeah, the debt and principal interest, when is that wound down? How long is that gonna last? And have we categorized that as that's a capital expense, right? That's not an operational expense.
Go ahead, Bernard.
Through the chair, the interest is an operating expense and the principal is a capital expense.
Okay. And how long is the debt gonna be there?
The other, I think less than 5 years.
Okay. And the last thing, here I go again, accretion expense. I know what it's for. It's for building a little bit of reserve to shut down the sites when we have to shut them down. But actually the terminology accretion expense is it's supposed to be a non-cash operating expense. So I'm trying to figure out why we're calling it accretion instead of just saying transfer to landfill shutdown or something like that. I think it misleads the terminology unless I misunderstand accretion, because accretion is actually, well, anyhow, I'm confused.
Through the chair, Dick Rowan, you were exactly right. So 2 years ago, that's what we reported, that transfer to landfill closure reserve fund. And then in 2024, we have a new accounting standard comes in called ARO, Asset Retirement Obligation. And this is the language they used, accretion expense. And actually it will change a little bit because Janine have actually engaged an engineer to update those reports. And we have a requirement to update this report every 3 years. Then we have done one for 2025. And in terms of language semantics, it's what we are prescribed to say it. And it is a cash transaction, is because we have to put away this money for future expenses.
So it's like the local government actors, the guidance isn't following what they're saying it should be then.
This is as per public sector accounting standard.
Yep. Okay. Those are the questions.
Other questions? Anybody? Okay. Anyone opposed? Great.
Quick comment, Chair, if I may. I just want to thank Janine for her work with the PTAC, the Public Technical Advisory Committee on landfill. There's a lot of people on that new committee and really appreciate it. Thank you.
Good work, Janine.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, let's go on to 5-year financial plan, Big White Solid Waste Management Service. And the recommendation is that the Board of Directors approve 2026-2030 Big White Solid Waste Management Service 5-year financial plan is presented to the board on February 25, including minor changes and for adjustments to year-end totals. Further, that it be included in the overall RDKB 2026-2030 5-year financial plan. Motion, thank you. Seconded, Richard. All right. Janine, you want to speak to this at all?
Pretty straightforward.
Seeing as how we were already up there yesterday.
Another quick call. Yes, again, thank you, Janine, at the town hall in Big White was very calm and informative. And I want to thank all the staff and especially it was rather reflective.
I'll second that. It was a great town hall. It really was. Okay, any other questions? Okay, anyone opposed? Let's go on to 5-year financial plan, general government services, and this is Farhad's territory. And the board of directors approved the 2026-2030 general government service 5-year financial plan, including minor changes to adjust year-end totals further, that the plan be included in the overall RDKB 2026-2030 5-year financial plan. Thank you. Seconded by Richard. All right.
Thank you, Chair. Not much of change, except the theme we are following today is update of the actual, update of the assessment value and all those. Everything else remained as you have seen last month.
Okay, questions?
Sure. Quick question. It's more of a comment. The government grants that increased substantially about, how come? Where did you pick up?
Through the chair, 3 different things happen with the government grant. So one is we got a little bit lucky with the hydro grant. So we got around $225,000 increase in there. And then through our Sustainability Act initiative, we got some HCM grant that's over $350,000. And then we have another non-government through CBT as well. So there are 3 different buckets of grant actually increase overall close to $500,000.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else? No? Okay, anyone opposed? All right, 5-year financial plan feasibility studies that the board of directors approved 2026 MFA Municipal Finance Authority 001 5-year financial plan is presented to board of directors January 29th, 2025, including minor changes or adjustments to year-end totals. Further, that the plan be included in the overall RDKB 2026-2030 financial plan motion. And Doug and Everett. Okay, conversation on this. None? Okay. Anyone opposed? Going forward, 5-year financial plan feasibility studies that the board of directors approved the 2026-2030 feasibility study service 5-year financial plan is presented to the board, and you know the rest.
Sure.
Thank you. Seconded by Everett. Any conversation on this? Nope. Anyone opposed? Okay, consolidated 5-year financial plan, second draft. And this is that the Regional District to Kootenay Boundary Board of Directors received the second draft of the consolidated 2025-2030 financial plan and provide directions to staff for any changes, if any. So, Bill Windman.
Just a general comment. I like it when we get these drafts. I provide them to our council. And it was actually given to them in hard copy at the last council meeting, and we went over the gist of it and the importance of it to make sure they understand how regional district provides services. And I like the report.
Yeah, perfect. Agree with you. Any other comment here? Allie?
I just want to thank Bill for sharing that information with his council. That is the best way for other councils to fully understand the impacts to the services that they participate in. So thank you for doing that, Bill.
Right on. Okay. Any other comments for this? Because we'll just receive it then, if there's no other direction. Okay, motion for receipt. Richard, seconded by. Okay, anyone not in favor of that? All right, cancellation of notice on title 4350 Highway 33 Area E, that the Regional District of Kootenay Boundary Board of Directors cancel the notice registered in the Land Title Office pursuant to Section 302 of the Local Government Act and Section 58 of the Community Charter against property legally described as Lot 2, DL 619, Plan 28302, except Plan 31603. Motion. Thank you. Seconded. Richard. Anyone conversation on this? Anyone opposed? Okay. Contribution agreement, Columbia Basin Trust. That the RDKB Board of Directors direct the corporate officer to execute the contribution agreement with the Columbia Basin Trust for the delivery of REDI grants for the 2027-2028 term.
So moved.
Okay, any conversation on any of this? Anyone opposed? Okay, let's go to grants and aid, please. Motion, second Sharon, seconded by Linda Kay. Anyone not in favor of this?
Quick comment, Chair, if I may.
Please go ahead.
I just
Yeah.
wanted to point out that in Area B, there's two grants, both identical amounts to the Kettle Valley Golf Club and the Kettle River Food Share. And I'm sorry, to the golf course. Sorry, Kettle River Golf Course, not Food Share. And then for a defibrillator, and they're sharing it. So in the winter it goes.
Right on.
And I thought that was
nice.
brought up by them. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Linda Wardy?
Yeah, just want to mention in case anybody notices that Area B, the $2,000 First Robson Scouts to help cover expenses. The Area B folks traditionally go out toward Castlegar. A lot of them on the Lower Columbia side, not up in rural Rossland area, but for their scouts and because Girl Guides was gotten rid of for some reason, a lot of the girls have joined the scouts as well, which is wonderful.
Right.
And so that's why I support some things you'll see out Castlegar way, because Area B residents do
Of course.
get involved in that.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
Any other conversations to do with the grants and aid?
Likewise with the cat rescue. It's out of Area D, but a lot of those animals are coming out of my area, so I'm happy to help.
Yeah, I agree with you. Okay, we will go on to 1917 Area B zoning amendment, public hearing minutes. That the minutes of the public hearing held February 4th, 2026 regarding the proposed zoning bylaw amendment, bylaw number 1917 to amend electoral area B, Lower Columbia Old Glory zoning bylaw number 1540 are received.
So moved, but I might point out that Area A was first with their bylaw. Okay, thank you. Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I like that.
Thank you. And a seconder.
to lose it.
And a seconder for that. We got it? Okay, anyone not in favor of that? Okay, Area D zoning amendment. At the minutes of the public hearing held January 29, 2026 regarding the proposed zoning bylaw amendment, bylaw number 1918 to amend electoral area D.
Chair, what item are we on?
We should be on.
I'm on.
It's on.
12C.
We need to do 12A still.
Oh, 12A we need to do. I guess we should do that then. 1927 and 1928, Area A. Based on the recommendation from the Electoral Area Services Committee that the Regional District Kootenai Boundary Official Community Plan Amendment Bylaw 1927-2026 and Zoning Bylaw Amendment Bylaw number 1928-2026 is read a first and second time, and further that staff be directed to schedule a public hearing for proposed bylaw number 1927-2026 and 1928-2026, and that the electoral area director be delegated to the authority to chair the public hearing, and that the electoral area B director be delegated to act as alternate.
So moved.
Motion. Thank you, Ally. Seconded? Linda? Anyone not in favor of that?
Just to comment.
Yes, please, go ahead.
I just want to thank Donna Dean and her staff. They worked very hard to make this opportunity go through for a property out east of Fruitvale. So thanking Donna Dean and her staff.
Thanks, Ally. Okay, we already did 12B, I believe, so we're into 12C. And that is Area D zoning amendment public hearing minutes. That the minutes of the public hearing held January 29, 2026 regarding the proposed zoning bylaw amendment bylaw number 1918 to amend electoral area D rural Grand Forks zoning bylaw number 1675 are received.
I would like to move with a question.
Okay, motion? Motion. And a seconder for that? Thank you. Go ahead.
What happens now with that? Does anyone know? We've approved the minutes. I signed them. So do we get staff report on the, more changes based on my residents' feedback. What happened? Got a lot of good feedback.
Which one of you want to tackle?
I can try tackling it through the chair, not a planner. But, so yeah, so I believe staff will take all of those comments. I'm guessing the APC were probably involved as well in this. And then there will be another draft,
They're all
of
documented.
the bylaw that will go forward.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
okay, any other comments there? Anyone opposed?
Yeah, no, sorry, I do have
Sorry,
my,
Ally, can't see you, so I
Yeah,
have to
sorry.
always lean forward.
yeah, so through the chair, to, Linda Kay, you will recall that because of, public hearing comments that I heard at zoning bylaw amendments recently, I am pausing to make amendments on the proposed bylaw changes that were before us earlier. And I'm still working with staff on making those changes because of what was heard at public hearing. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, and that does happen. Absolutely. Linda Kay.
To the chair, to Ally, maybe we need to have a conversation with them about this. There's always more to it.
Yeah. Okay. So Mount Baldy zoning amendment, public hearing minutes. That the minutes of public hearing held January 27, 26 regarding the proposed zoning bylaw amendment, bylaw number 1911 to amend Mount Baldy zoning bylaw number 1340 be received.
Make that motion with a comment.
You bet. And seconded for the motion, and then you can comment. Go ahead.
So in one of the amendments is for no water bottling to be there. And I was kind of questioning that when it came before my APC, the chair is from Bali, and he asked if any applications had gone through, and no, but we went with it. Lo and behold, at yesterday's Kettle River Watershed Advisory Committee meeting, Mark Schroeder, the water management of Mount Baldy, had advised us that for the first time ever, and I've been skiing there since I was 13, one of the intakes had dried out. And that's a Mount Baldy. And last year was a good snow year. So as much as I got elected on a no zoning platform, we have pockets of zoning within Area E, and that's why we have it, because we have regulations that we have to adhere to, especially with some of these environmentally sensitive issues and where we want to place industry. So thank you for allowing me to comment on that, and I'm looking forward to doing some more work in Area E on water.
You bet. And that was a really good meeting. Several of us were on that yesterday. It was a great presentation. Christina does a fabulous job. She really does for the whole Kettle River drainage system. And for water, I'm really concerned. Gotta tell you.
Our previous MLA showed up as well.
Yep.
Yeah. There.
So anyone opposed to that?
Just a comment.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, and just adding to that, for those who aren't aware, we have had bottled watering facility applications out of Area E, I believe on 2 occasions in the past, none of which went forward, but it is a legit concern and thus the legit amendments to our bylaws for that reason. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
We've had 2 in addition to the existing one, is what you're saying? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, because you can make so much money on natural resources, right? And that's the difficulty, and that becomes a real question for everyone because we all own that water. So seriously, there is a lot of concern.
And the plastic as well.
Yep, and the plastic as well. Okay, are we good? Boundary Economic Development, Electoral Area D, Rural Grand Forks, that the RDKB Board of Directors rescind 3rd reading of the Regional District Kootenai Boundary Economic Development Area D, Rural Grand Forks, bylaw number 1924, 2026, as read on January 15, 2026. Further, that the board read the bylaw a 3rd time as amended. Further, that the corporate officer be directed to send the bylaw to the inspector of municipalities for approval. Motion? Richard? Second? Okay.
Just a high level explanation, please.
Through the chair.
That's the guru.
So, the letter, I required consent from the other participant, which was the city of Grand Forks. They sent a letter, but it wasn't in the prescribed form needed by the inspector of municipalities. They actually needed a council resolution. A letter indicating intent to withdraw was not enough. So they needed a certified resolution. So now that I have that, I had to actually rescind the reading because it had a different date. The dates all have to align. It's all very prescribed. And so now I'll be able to send this to the ministry for inspector approval, and then we can move on with removing Grand Forks from the service and establishing.
No worries. It's good to ask those questions. Seriously, there's so much to all of this. Okay, any other conversation here? All right, anyone opposed? Okay, Beaver Valley Water Regulation and Rates. That the Beaver Valley Water Service Regulations and Rates bylaw number 1931, 2026 be adopted. Further, that the chair and the corporate officer be directed to sign the bylaw. Motion, please.
Bill, so
This-
moved.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll second, but did we miss the first recommendation?
yes. So we'll go back to that in a minute.
Okay.
Okay, we've read the second recommendation with the motion and a seconder. Do you want to do the first one first?
Effectively, we need to.
So
Yeah.
moved.
And
Okay,
seconded.
first one is so moved. That's regulations and rates bylaw number. Okay, seconder for that.
Yeah.
Anyone not in favor of the first recommendation then? Okay, second recommendation, which is a motion on the floor.
All
Any
good.
conversation?
No,
Ally, any conversation?
no, thank you.
Good. All right, anyone opposed? Okay, let's go to Christina Lake Water Rates and Regulations.
Oops, Chair. I
Yes.
just have a question. I'm going back to the economic development. I'm sorry, it took a little bit for my mouth to catch up with my brain. It's a statement and a small question.
Can we do it later in under late items or something, Linda Kay? Would that be okay? Then we can finish what's on here and then you can go back with a question comment, okay? All right, 1932 Christina Lake Water Rates and Regulations. Recommendation is that the Christina Lake Water Utility Regulation Rates bylaw number 1932, 2026 be read a first, second, and third time. Motion? Linda, and second and Sharon. Any conversation on that one? Okay, hearing none. Anyone opposed? Second recommendation is that the Christina Lake Water Utility Regulation and Rates bylaw number 1932, 2026 be adopted. Further, that the chair and corporate officer be directed to sign the bylaw. Motion. Linda, seconded. Third. Anyone not in favor of that? Okay, now your late item, please.
Okay, through the chair, my Chamber of Commerce is telling me they haven't received their check yet, whereas the museum received theirs almost a couple of months ago now. So I'm curious as to what has happened there. I don't necessarily need an answer, but I do need them to get their check.
Well, can you just give him direction to let you know, please? Does that work?
Sure.
Because you'll need to look it up,
Okay,
right?
excellent.
Okay.
But everything about Area D is in forefront of everything. I'm shocked.
So are we.
Thank you, Chair.
You are so welcome, Linda Kay. Okay, is that good?
Yes.
Anyone else? Bill, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, discussion
Want to know
item for
where the
future.
check is?
Through the chair,
Yeah.
through the chair, a discussion item for future meetings. This reserve bylaw is kind of near and dear to my heart. I would like to see the draft presented to the board in April.
Okay,
Yep.
whoops. What?
May you speak to that?
Yes, you may, please.
Just hearing CFO whispering in my ear, realistically, if maybe we could target maybe April to May, possibly May, by the time we get to bring that back to the board, if that would be acceptable.
Of course, you know.
I'm sorry, I was gambling there. That's why I said April, so you'd give me May.
Right, Bill, thank you.
Okay, we're in agreement. Ellie?
Yeah, I would at some point, would like to talk about the questions that we're all having on how the budgets are presented. I know, finance usually comes to us, how do you want the budgets presented? But there's a lot of stuff that's changing, a lot of new terminology. And then we've got, a reserve policy that we're not following. So I think, at some point I'd like to sit and talk about the budget, how they're presented to us, what we want to see, and clarifications on the reserve policy and what we're going to do with that.
Sure, okay. We'll make note of that, Ellie.
Thank you.
Anything else under late items or for future meetings, please?
For future discussion, I met with forestry critic Ward Stormer with woodlot owners, and he's coming out for a woodlot tour. And he'd like to invite any members of the RDKB that would like to come, and we're going to try and coincide it, so kind of keep that in mind.
Yeah, okay, we'll talk some timing with any trip at some point, but it's going to be kind of further.
Down the road. And also another item for future discussion is regarding Mark Stevens and Service 012 Emergency Services. I see that there's 392,000 in the reserves, and I have a question through the chair for Mark, if I may. We had updated the East End trailer that we were able to lease to the province. Remind me, did we not renew the boundary trailer?
We didn't update it to, through the chair, we didn't update it to provincial standards for deployment.
Right.
What we find with those standards is that it can be hard to get the return on investment from that. Also, the requirement for the jump that we did was quite large. The province changed from just a hose standard of it needs to be this diameter and these type of connections to it has to be this make, this brand, this model coming straight from Quebec. So the cost went from about $175 for a length of hose up to $300 and some odd dollars for a length of hose. And so in upgrading our new trailer, we were able to bring up our boundary trailer to a standard that is virtually identical to provincial standards, but it doesn't meet things in terms of the make and model of the hose. And the two chainsaws that are on board are 5 cc's less than they require, and the trailer is 3 feet smaller than they require.
And
so it can't be deployed. It's the standard of what they want. So it still gets used, and it will still be the first due. If there is a wildfire in the area, all of our fire chiefs in the boundary know to call us because we have the 2 trailers to send out right away and can be here the fastest.
So through the chair, so in your opinion, it's not worthwhile?
At this time, no. Yeah, at this time. BC Wildfire is also investing in further structure protection units. So it's hard to say whether we would get a return on investment of that when we have a trailer that is that. So our intention is that if a length hose breaks and it's on a deployment, for example, it's being used in the community, after the first operational period, BC Wildfire will compensate us partly because the hose was broken when they were using it. It did meet spec, so they'll give us a little bit less, and then we would use that plus our own operating budget for the trailer to buy the correct hose for it, so that over time, that trailer would be brought up to provincial standards. But at this point, most of the money in our reserves earmarked already for came from the Fire Smart grant to backfill the EPC, and that's where that our EPC is being funded from right now. It's that right there. So
makes sense. Thank you for the explanation.
No problem.
Okay, Ally?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I thought the East End Services had made a recommendation that come to this board regarding how the budgets are presented to us, specifically with budget a requisition increase, infrastructure levy, and further that operations be clearly separated from capital. There was a recommendation from East End. I thought I had seen it on this agenda, and I just wonder what happened to that recommendation from the East End.
I never saw that, so
There was
item
item 10AC. It was passed.
It was passed, yeah, it was passed as the block.
Oh, it was in the block?
Committee
Oh.
reports. It would be on committee reports, Sally.
Oh, okay. I apologize. I didn't realize it was inside that bundle. I hope everybody made note of it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay. All righty, let us go on and comments from the public. Please, Derek and Lori.
At this point, I think I'd just like to compliment all of you for representing your electorates in a way where you're keeping the public in mind. I saw it on several occasions tonight where we've asked, or today, sorry, where we've asked for further clarity on things. And to that, I'm very grateful. So thank you all for doing what you're doing.
No problem, and you are welcome to join us anytime.
Thank you.
This is a public meeting, and so be sure, because that's what gives you the background, right? It's easy for us to just dialogue, but if you don't see the background and what that debate looks like, then you're only getting this much of it. Okay, so feel free to join us anytime.
Thank you.
Okay, we have to go back into yeah,
So motion.
in camera, please. Motion to go in camera. And seconder? Great. Anyone not in favor of that? Okay. Thank you, you guys, for attending.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a great rest of your day.
Yep, you too.
Safe trip.
Bye-bye. Bye. Yeah, we need to.
Yep, if you want a quick break. Where's our HR person?
Hey, Chair, right here.
Oh, there he is. Hi, Ryan.
How are you doing?
Okay, so is everybody here? And if everybody's here, I will ask you a question. We are going to fine line the CAO contract. It is up to you whether you want to invite James to stay in the room so he can speak to it with Ryan, or whether you want James to go out for a few minutes while Ryan fine lines it for you, and then we call James back in. Which one?
I would like James to stay.
Okay. Anybody else? Yali?
I would like to do a combination thereof. I'd like to hear from Ryan first and then invite James in.
That's what I just said. You could have that choice of either or.
No. What I said was I would like to hear from Ryan first on the contract, and then after that, we can invite James in, which was not.
And
wrong here.
Ellie, to be clear, I said, do you want James to stay in the room, or do you want to hear from Ryan first, and James will go out and then bring James back in?
Okay, I didn't hear that part. Thanks so much, Grace.
No worries, anytime. Excuse me, be careful. That wasn't nice. Okay, so James,
We've got Andy as well.
Andy?
The same as Ali, please. I would like James to not be there for the report from the HR manager, but come in after. Thank you.
Yep, that's fine. Great. Okay. Ally, do you have another comment other than calling me names, possibly?
Sorry, don't mean to interrupt, but James, do you want to stop that recording? Just in case anybody jumps on, I should, because you're still.
Stop the recording.
Do you need help
I
with that?
can, because it's when you started it, so I don't know if I can stop it.
Can I just, sorry, if you go on